G'day everybody and welcome to The Local, the chance to find out what's going on in the world of local footy across the great nation of Australia. It's all thanks to the team at Premier Data who track every single moment of the season, which is quite phenomenal when you think about it. The breadth of the country that plays footy, and they are there just tapping away with all the superstars in the office, getting all the numbers that matter for the players, for the coaches, for the leagues. It is outstanding stuff. We think they're awesome. I'll tell you who else we think is awesome. Brett Bewley is awesome from the Darley Football Netball Club, who is having some sort of start to the year with his team. They're 3-0 in the Ballarat Football League. And the great man himself has been good enough to join us. Brett, welcome to The Local.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.
Good on you, buddy. Nice to have you with us. It's been a pretty good start, 3-0. We're rolling nicely there at Darley.
Yeah, starting to get some things in motion now. Probably a bit slow out of the blocks. There's always that little bit of expectation when you come off a sort of season like we had last year. I think the boys are really starting to settle now, and hopefully we can continue to grow each week now.
Now, you're sounding like very much an AFL footballer post-game press conference there, Brady. This is local footy stuff, mate. We don't want to know about the team. We want to know about you and how dominant you've been. That's what we want to know, mate. What's the go?
What do you want to know? I just go about my business each week.
Take us into, if I was the coach, what would I be asking you to do week in, week out? Where are you playing? What sort of position you're running here? Because the numbers stack up. There's the game from the weekend. 245 ranking points from Premier Data, 48 disposals, 25 contested, 16 clearances and a goal, Brett. They're not numbers that the average Joe Schmo, the schmuck, is producing every week in the world of local footy. You're king of the castle, mate.
Oh, yeah. Have a run around the midfield. Probably a little bit different to what I did previously at VFL level and AFL level. But yeah, lucky enough to have a bit of a run on the ball. It's pretty hotly contested in our side. There's plenty of blokes that want to play around there, so it keeps me honest and makes me keep wanting to improve.
Yeah, so tell us through your journey. You talked about the AFL and the VFL. Take us through your journey before you got back to Darley.
Yeah, so obviously played TAC Cup back when I had a run around the Coach League now, I think it's called. Western Jets. Went to Williamstown under Andy Collins. Played 2 years in the reserves, handful of games sort of between 2014, 2015, and then, spot opened up on the wing in the seniors. So Colo had a chat with me and said that if I get myself fit and, probably, being a 18, 19-year-old coming out of TAC Cup, body probably wasn't ready, wasn't training probably how you needed to, eating the way you need to. And then, got on the wing in 2016 and then had 3 years at Willie, played predominantly wing. And then, was lucky enough to get drafted at 23 to Freo. Had a couple of tough years with the COVID sort of stuff and then the list sizes and they decided to let me go, and then which has been obviously I would have loved to have stayed. I loved the club, loved my time there, loved all the boys. Gave it a red hot crack, no regrets. They just wanted to go a different way, and then was lucky enough to come back to my home club, and things have worked out. Got a young family now, and just ticking along.
So how old are you these days?
I've just turned 31.
Oh, you're just a boy in a man's world. You've got plenty left, plenty to go in your local footy career.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Coming back from Freo when it all ended, because they were a really challenging couple of years for the world, let alone for bloody athletes living away from their families halfway across the country and trying to forge a career. When they sent you back, they delisted you. How difficult was it? How challenging was it to get back on track mentally after that? Because, it would have been something you've been aching for after being drafted at 23, given that look.
Yeah. I struggled all 2021 with osteitis pubis. So carried over from the end of the 2020 season, missed the whole pre-season. But it was kind of like every time I was sort of fit and available, I was either in the team or sub. So it was kind of, hopeful that they might say, we'll just wait and see how the trade period goes or whatever. But I was pretty realistic in my sort of thinking that it was probably going to come to an end when, you play you're sort of in the team for the last game of the year and you haven't heard anything, you probably know that it's, more likely that you're going to get let go than stay. But mentally, it wasn't sort of a big challenge for me. It was probably the first couple of weeks, you're a bit flat and all that. But I was lucky enough. I did my apprenticeship before I got drafted, so I already had a plan when I, you know, got the chop that I was coming back to Victoria, and I was just going to sort of slot back in where I was 3 years earlier.
What were the main takeaways? If you talk about your AFL, even your VFL experience, what were the main things you took out of those that you've dragged with you through life, let alone footy?
Yeah, so I mean the VFL and the AFL, they're two different ends of the spectrum. I mean, some of my really good mates now are blokes that I played with at Willie. You know, that VFL sort of standard and the way that the boys have to, go to work every day and then train, I think it just brings the group you're in so much closer together. You're not necessarily fighting blokes for a job. Sort of your mates with everyone at AFL level, but there's still that little bit of, the competitiveness in everything you do. But yeah, the main lessons probably are just, if you're prepared to do the work, you can anything can anything can happen really.
Yeah, well, it's a pretty good takeaway, I reckon, from your experience so far. So we spoke to Brett McCaffer last week, who's playing local footy in the Northern Footy Netball League at Epping, and we talked about the moment you finish your AFL journey and how quickly the phone rings. You were talking before about ending up back at Darley, back at your home club. Surely there would have been plenty of offers and plenty of phone calls from clubs around the state, let alone the country, for you to go and hang out with them for a little bit more. What drew you back to Darley?
Well, yeah, I mean, it does. They don't really waste too much time. I reckon I got chop in the morning and then in the afternoon I had, it was probably more, I probably got more state league interest than local. I've had a couple of local calls and once once I knew I was coming back, I was really only coming back to Darley, and I think the few clubs that contacted me got that sort of idea when they were, offering their, putting their clubs out there and trying to sell it. Yeah, I really only had one club on my mind. I grew up here. Dad played here. Mum and dad are heavily involved in the footy club still, and my younger brother was playing, and I'd never played with him before. The senior side, obviously, it was a shortened 2021 with the COVID stuff, and they played 10 games and they didn't manage any wins. So it was, the club was sort of in a spot where I was like, oh, I feel like I can go back and make a bit of a difference here and start to. I knew that there was a lot of talented juniors and could really start to build something at the footy club and help set it on a path that could really set us up for the future.
So you took a fair bit of responsibility. It sounds like you knew what sort of you were walking into and were trying to get out of it. That takes a bit of responsibility and puts a bit of pressure on you. Did you feel that when you got out there?
Not really. Well, I mean, once they sort of appointed Dan Jordan as coach, I'd had a few dealings with him through the VFL when he was at Essendon, and obviously he was a legend of our comp. So I had, that level of respect there for him already. Had a few conversations with him and knew that we were aligned. So there was not really any pressure because I knew whatever direction I wanted to go in, sort of the way that we were going to set some standards. That he was going to, we were on the same page and we were aligned. And also had a fair few good mates that were still at the club that I'd played junior footy with, and one of my best mates, he was vice captain at the time, and he's been massive the whole time in terms of helping set the standards, and also the boys that they're probably retired. They're retired now, but they played in a couple of flags and they probably got that little bit of fatigue. So it probably helped them a little bit and lessen the load on them. They could get a few more years out of their career. And but yeah, I didn't feel any extra pressure in terms of that. The club were fully supportive, and they were. I mean, that was the main reason probably why they wanted me back. But yeah, I think the alignment between Dan and myself has been the big thing, that we're pushing in the same direction, and yeah.
Yeah, it makes a difference, absolutely, when your guns and your coaches are on the same page. So what's happened since you've been back there? What's sort of been the storyline since you've been back at Darley?
Yeah, so the 4 years we've won 2 flags. It's been, a bit of a whirlwind, really. 2022, coming off that winless season, sort of, there wasn't really too much expectation in the comp around, what we could achieve. We went down in a semi-final by a point. We were down by 50 points at half time, and then got back in front in the last quarter, and then Josh Gibson kicked the goal with about a minute to go. So after that sort of season between the 2022 and 2023, I think there was just a lot of belief that, if we can do what we are saying internally that we can do. So yeah, we knuckled down 2023. I think we lost 2 games for the season, and then won the flag, which was unbelievable. I mean, just to experience what I'd always wanted to do as a kid. And then 2024, we probably, just sort of, not that we weren't, going as well as we wanted to. There was probably a few injuries and stuff that hurt us badly. Probably didn't, train as hard as we needed to in the pre-season and tick the boxes that we needed to tick. So, there was a fair few learnings in that. And then we went down in extra time in a prelim in 24, which obviously hurt the boys a fair bit, and we used that as a bit of fuel over that pre-season. And then 2025, through Dan's connection with Nick Hind, we were able to add him to our side, and he just really changed sort of the way we looked as a team, added a lot of speed, and our ball movement just went, it changed the way we moved the ball a lot. We were a heavily contested side before that, and then, we started to get into a bit more of a ball movement team, and then, got done in round 1 last year, and then we were lucky enough to go on a run of wins to, take home the flag again.
So you've had a pretty good time. Are you enjoying it, or is it? Do you feel like it's a bit of a job for you? Do you get a chance to just love playing local footy?
No, I love it, mate. I love it. I love footy, massive. I don't miss too many games over the weekend. I'm always following everything, and I mean, most people that speak to me, they probably just say, he's up on the footy a bit, but no, I love it. Everything I do is, my missus is probably the one that's like, let's have a spell, turn the footy off. Now my young bloke, he's 4, just turned 4, and he's starting to get the bug a bit, which is good for me, but not so good for her.
Well, you've had some sort of impact too. Just going through the Premier data numbers for you in preparation for this, you've had 59 straight 100-plus point games is a streak you've had, which we're trying to confirm. It might be the record that we've been able to find. You've had 74 of 75 games over 100, so you're dominating week in, week out. You've had 17 200-plus point games in the 75 that have been recorded. I'm not sure how many you've played, but 75 that have been recorded. So you're absolutely killing it. Are you getting a lot of defensive pressure, physical pressure? Do you get tagged?
Yeah, I do. I someone asked me this the other day, actually. Like, it's one of those things. It started off really hot, and then once you sort of get to your level of, I just try to be consistent every week, and whether I have someone running around with me or not, I just, whether there's someone on me, I might have to take the game a bit more inside. If I get a bit more freedom, then, try and get them on the outside. And then, then when you start getting the outside ball, that's when the attention sort of comes a bit in game. But, I go into every game expecting it. So, yeah, it's one of those things. I just try and, no matter what the opposition throw at me, I just try and make sure that my output and my mindset stay the same, and that's sort of what helps me the most, I guess. I try not to let it get to me, and it helps having a lot of good teammates around you that if an oppo can limit my impact or whatever, I know that one of my teammates is gonna get them anyway. So it's just one of those things. You just kind of find the balance.
Who's the best players you play with at Darley? Give him a pump up. Give him some love. The local podcast
Oh,
love.
geez, at the moment, Billy Myers is setting them on fire. I've played a lot of footy with Bill, come through the juniors together, played with him at Jets, and then we went to Willie together and played, 70-odd games together at Willie. So I've played, I wouldn't really play 200 games with him, I reckon. But yeah, his, ability to play behind the ball, in front of the ball. I mean, he started the season in at centre half back, and then on the weekend he just said he was feeling a bit sore, so he went forward and he kicked 8. So I mean, he's had a crazy start to the year, and since he's come, he didn't play he played at Willie in the 2022 season, then came back 2023, and yeah, he's another one that really changed our side, the way we look, as I said about Nick in 2025. But yeah, Bill's another one that's, he's, amazing teammate to have. There's a lot of blokes in our side that probably don't get the credits. Like Luther Baker, he's going to play his 200th game this year for the footy club in the seniors. He would have played, 150 in the juniors, so he's, nearly up at 400 club eventually going to probably get to 400 club games. That's a massive achievement for a country club, and he's 31, turning 32, so he's potentially still got a fair few more left in him. And then I played with blokes like Shane Page, who's retired now. Someone that I really looked up to as a kid coming through. And then obviously Nick Hind.
Yeah, it'd be pretty helpful to have a run across halfback at local level, you reckon? We've got Billy Myers' numbers from last week: 159 ranking points, 21 disposals, 9 marks, 8 goals, 12 score involvements. That's a pretty good day for Billy, who keeps rocking on. If there was the end of the world had happened, it was just you and one of your teammates, or one of the Darley Footy Club people, just one of the community at Darley Footy Club, you're the only two left sitting at the bar, pulling pots, and the only pub in town. Who would you want that person to be?
Oh, geez. Oh, I don't know. Geez, I'll give Digger, Travis Edwards, a bit of a plug. Life of the party, you always have a good chat with him, and never short of a laugh. But yeah, he's our footy manager. But close mate. He'll do anything for you, and you always have a good chat with him, and he loves having a bit of a chat about the footy club as well.
Yeah, good on you, Digger. That's the sort of stuff we're after at local footy club. That's what makes local footy clubs. I'm sure there's plenty of people that put in a heap of effort. Take us through Thursday night. What happens Thursday night at Darley? I love this, to find out what happens at every club on a Thursday night selection night.
Yes. Oh, well, we obviously have a run. It's sort of changed a fair bit over the last few years, just because our season, Melbourne South dropped out, so our season extended a little bit. We DJ loves to do his little Oppo preview before training, just to have a look so we can go into training with some focuses. But then we don't really do a great deal out on the track, just more about, freshening up, getting the touch, go through our stuff with our lines, and then have a bit of a, match play, move the footy around. And then we just get upstairs, have a schnitzel, can of Coke, and read the sides out. And then that's it. Get home. Footy's on normally, so.
Thursday night footy become a thing? You watch the footy all together at the club?
Yeah, it's on. I'm not a massive footy watcher before a game. I tend to stay away from it until Sundays. I watch every game on a Sunday, Saturday night and Sunday, but I don't really watch too much footy before we play.
Yeah, right. Have you got a pre-game ritual? Any superstitions you run through?
Oh, geez. My week's normally I've got like my little stuff that I like to do during the week. It starts on a Monday. I'm not too superstitious in that sense, but, I just like to tick off me a few items, saunas and gym and that type of stuff, and make sure that by the time the weekend comes, I'm ready to go.
Right, so you got Melton this week. It's a big game coming up against Melton. What's the target? Who's coming to you? So who's in for a rough day by having to play on you? And what's the outcome going to be?
Yeah, I mean, the benefit is I've played a lot of footy in the comp now. I've probably played 75 games, and we would have played, 10 or so against Melton. Lockie Walker normally comes to me, so I'm actually good mates with his brother. So he got married earlier in the year, and we had his bucks, and Lockie was making a few little jokes about it. So no, it's the thing about country footy. Once you play a few games, you get to know a lot of the blokes you play against, and everyone's everyone's the same. They're all, most are tradies, running around on the weekend. We all have a beer together after the game, and it's all fun and games. It's all, everyone's having a crack when we're out there, but as soon as the game's done, there's not too many blokes you play against you wouldn't sit there and have a beer with.
No, that's a good thing. That's the beauty of local footy, mate. That's why they love having players like you around too, some real quality that they can watch, compete against, test themselves, and hopefully one day get over the top of you, although the numbers suggest that's not happening very often. Good luck this week against Melton, mate. Well done on the weekend's performance as well. Look forward to following your progress through the year.
Cheers, mate. Appreciate you having me on.
Good on you. Brett Bewley with us from the Darley Football Netball Club in the Ballarat Footy League. Dominating proceedings, 3-0. The Darley Devils at the moment, and a big game against Melton this week. We'll track it next week on The Local.